You're watching Oklahoma's News 4, Act 6.
Tense moments inside the Oklahoma State Capitol. Plus, a Republican lawmaker taking on the governor over a plan to privatize Medicaid.
Anytime you add a middleman, everybody knows what happens.
And
it was just a comedy of errors.
After a meeting plagued by technical trouble, a do-over for the Oklahoma County Jail Trust.
The fraud and the corruption that has been historic and notorious in this county has not ceased.
And that is where we begin with take two for the struggling Oklahoma County Jail Trust.
Earlier this week, several trustees worried about the legality of a virtual meeting filled with serious audio issues. One telling News 4 they violated the Open Meetings Act.
The meeting was eventually moved to today, and News 4's Jessica Bruno was there. Jess, what happened?
Yeah, Kevin and Jolene, today's meeting was in person with a few trustees still appearing virtually. But what they were trying to do on Monday was have the meeting totally virtual, just like the city of Oklahoma City has done throughout this pandemic, and it didn't go as planned.
The meeting should have been adjourned right when it started.
Oklahoma County Clerk David Hooten is talking about Monday's jail trust meeting that was plagued with audio issues.
It was just a comedy of errors.
It was the first ever meeting solely virtual. Members of the public complaining they were stuck in the waiting room during public comment.
There was such a endless loop running. There was lag time. People couldn't hear.
And when audio was working, an outburst from one of Hooten's employees.
That makes absolutely no sense.
He's been handled. Was handled very quickly, and he felt terrible about it.
The meeting ultimately rescheduled to Wednesday afternoon, this time in person.
You guys can't even manage to abide by the law and conduct your meetings in a timely and expedited fashion where we had to reschedule this meeting.
There's no technical difficulties. It's because you're terrified of the people.
Also on Wednesday, Commissioner Carrie Bloomert publicly announcing she sent a letter to the jail trust demanding an action plan for improving conditions inside the jail.
Those 4 items that I included in that letter are no secret. They are issues that most of the community is aware of.
Issues like bed bugs in cells, inmates not receiving showers or food on time, all listed inside a recent report from the State Department of Health. Bloomert also mentioning last month's deadly hostage situation.
I made it very clear when I voted a few weeks ago to keep the trust in place, that if we didn't see major improvements in the next few months, that I would consider looking at that again and figuring out, is this really the best group to run the jail?
And Bloomer tells us she's already received responses from 3 trustees regarding her letter. Now, also today, we spoke with a group of local activists who filed a lawsuit here at the Oklahoma County Courthouse yesterday, claiming that the trust violated the Open Meeting Act. Reporting live at the Oklahoma County Courthouse, Jessica Bruno, Oklahoma's News 4.
Oh man, protesters making their voices heard loud and clear inside the House chamber at the state capitol this afternoon. This group interrupted the House session to protest a handful of bills signed into law today by the governor. The first decriminalizes drivers who run over protesters if the driver believes that they're in danger. The other new law makes it illegal to film law enforcement working, possibly arresting someone. The group also spoke out against anti-abortion and anti-trans bills. We know the protesters were eventually kicked out of the House chamber, and the House session has since resumed.
There's a new roadblock facing Governor Stitt's push to privatize Medicaid in Oklahoma. Those within his own party are now pushing back on the effort. News 4's Jacqueline Chappell reports on a late-night vote that threatens to derail the governor's plan.
The last thing the House did on Tuesday night was vote on Senate Bill 131. Now Governor Stitt responding, saying he's disappointed.
If we go the privatized route right now, we're going to have to rebuild the health care authority. And if you think this is expensive.
Governor Kevin Stitt's plan to privatize Medicaid in Oklahoma faces a new challenge. House lawmakers, most of them Republicans, voting late Tuesday night to approve legislation that would essentially block the governor's plan. The man behind the bill, Representative Marcus McIntyre. He says the governor's privatized plan is more costly than the current Medicaid system, pointing out the state already tried out managed Medicaid back in the 90s and it failed.
Let's say the MCO model failed, the privatized MCO model failed, like it did in 90s, 2000s. If it does that, then we're going to have to go back and rebuild something that already exists. Anytime you add a middleman, everybody knows what happens. The cost goes up because they're going to get their cut.
Dr. Tim Fagan also concerned about the cost of Stitt's plan. He says Oklahomans could ultimately pay the consequences of managed care.
You can estimate costs, but people are going to get sick. More people may get sick than what has been allocated every year on the state level. They're not into losing money. They're into it for making a profit.
Governor Stitt firing back, saying in part, it is disappointing that in the dead of night, 57 House Republicans voted to grow government and spend $1.2 billion of taxpayer money over 5 years on a one-way ticket to Joe Biden's socialized health care plan in order to please the Oklahoma Hospital Association. Jacqueline Chappell, Oklahoma's News 4.
Representative McIntyre was not available for comment today. His office told us he would be on the House floor all day. The bill now heads back to the Senate. A bill that protects houses of worship from forced closures during health emergencies is a step closer to becoming law. The proposed legislation was born, of course, out of the pandemic. At the start, many churches and other places of worship were forced to close in an effort to slow the spread of COVID-19. The bill would prohibit closures. It'll now be up to Governor Stitt to decide whether the bill should become law.
And now to the latest on COVID-19 in Oklahoma. An additional 45 deaths have been added to the CDC's provisional death count for our state. State health officials also report more than 200 new infections. And we just learned 211 Oklahomans are in the hospital with it this evening. That's 20 more than this time yesterday.
Now, first weather from the Forewarned Storm Team.
So right out of the gate, I have to ask you, how are your plants? We've had mixed reviews. Kevin got to work today, which was a positive sign. He brought them in last night.
Got to do those honeydews, man.
Exactly. A lot of you probably did. So mixed reviews because the low temperatures were either cold or brutally cold, right? 29 at Will Rogers, broke a record by a lot. But on the west side of town, incredibly, El Reno 24 this morning, Camargo 23, Mangum 23. That's like vinegar and oil. They shouldn't be going together at all. Late April and those kind of temperatures. 29 in Stillwater. High cloud cover out there right now. Nice afternoon, cool in the mid to high 50s, but the winds are light, so we're going to enjoy a cool evening. It'll be in the mid 40s by 10 o'clock tonight. High cloud cover. Next storm system, guys, on the way. We'll talk about some severe weather possible on Friday as that comes across Oklahoma, and there is your Wednesday evening. That forecast coming up.
All right, thank you very much. Well, the day has finally come in northeast Oklahoma City. After years of frustration, hard work, and determination, a brand new grocery store is now open. And as News 4's Taylor Adams tells us, it brings nutritional and emotional healing to this once food desert.
Today's opening for the market at East Point was nothing short of a grand celebration. These doors finally open for customers, and for the northeast side, this grocery store is just the beginning.
My heart is so full. We fought like hell to get here today, and I mean every word of that.
After nearly 2 years of fighting for a grocery store on the northeast side of Oklahoma City,
2, 1, come on in, welcome.
The market at East Point opened its doors to customers Wednesday, paving the way for food equality.
This is what food justice looks like. This is what happens when you pull everyone together and say, let's do this together. This is what community looks like.
In August of 2019, the northeast side's only grocery store abruptly closed, creating a food desert that would leave many without access to fresh groceries. Bercy Jones has lived in this community for 71 years. She saw the Smart Saver close its doors. But today, she's celebrating.
Hey, I'm happy to see a store over on our side. Grateful. It's close to my house, you know, and they got everything you need, and it's reasonable.
A real, tangible change for the Northeast Side that they hope will last for years to come.
As we look at loss on the other side of MLK, hope is restored right here at the market at East Point.
Taylor Adams, Oklahoma's News 4.
That is great. The market at East Point is open daily. Now, a second grocery store on the Northeast Side, a Homeland, is expected to open in the fall near 36th and Lincoln.
And just ahead at 6, changing young lives for the better.
It's a team of officers, a whole unit dedicated to mentoring inner city youth.
We go inside the program and hear what these young men are also learning about themselves along the way.
A frosty start this morning, cool this afternoon. The winds are now calm here in Oklahoma City. Get ready. Here comes the south wind. Along with that, you guessed it, opportunity of some thunderstorms. We'll break down that next. Good look here weekend coming up.
You're watching Oklahoma's News 4 at 6 with Jolene Cheney, Kevin Ogle, Mike Morgan, and Ryan Brinkley. Oklahoma's News 4, looking out for you.
Tonight we continue our United Voice series aimed at improving race relations in Oklahoma. And this evening we want to highlight a program hosted by the Oklahoma City Police Department. Each year their FACT unit hosts a retreat called Man Up.
That's where police and local leaders mentor high school students about what it means to become responsible men. And as News 4's Emily Akins reports, those who attend say it's changed their lives.
Most of us wouldn't even trust police if this wasn't like happening.
A team dedicated to helping build that trust.
We try to tell them that police work is what we do. It's not who we are.
And turning young high school students into men.
It's a team of officers, a whole unit dedicated to mentoring inner city youth.
Lieutenant Waylon Cubitt, part of this effort put on by the Oklahoma City Police Department's FACT team. Each year they help host a Man Up retreat.
We want to engage youth where they are. We want to build a relationship with them, and then we want to do what we can to create good character in those young men.
They talk to us about how being a man, a leader responsibility.
Upwards of 25 young men spend the weekend with police officers and community leaders.
They actually have a whole lot of feelings about the police when they come, and they have a whole different understanding about police when they leave.
We spoke with 3 young men who attended this year's retreat. They called their experience life-changing.
Teach you how to be a man and how asking for certain things you don't have to be scared for.
Each has their own background and life experience, but they come together and realize they also have a lot of similarities.
It taught me how to actually be a man and take care of certain responsibilities and be accountable for my mistakes and my actions.
Lieutenant Cubitt says they host this retreat every year, and each year brings a new significance.
More often we get phone calls from their parents saying, "What did you do to my young man? He's making up his bed, he's doing his homework, he's saying yes and thank you," and all those type of things.
In Oklahoma City, Emily Akins, Oklahoma's News 4.
Great job by Waylon and his guys there. There is also a retreat held each year for women. Both the men's and women's retreats happen on weekends during spring break. So for more information on both, head to KFOR.com.
Now, forewarned weather with Mike Morgan.
Well, we do hope your plants made it this morning. A lot of folks did. Some folks did not. It sure was awfully cold. We'll break that down for you. And gosh, April the 21st to have temperatures well down in the 20s. That's a pretty big deal, right? Very historically significant, even for us. We have high cloud cover out there right now, and our temperature is 58 degrees. The best part of the day might be the fact the wind is calm right now. And 59 was our daytime high. The morning low was 29, beating the record low by 5 degrees. You beat a record low by 5 degrees, it's a big deal. And the record low temperature, which was 34, happened to be 128 years old. So that gives you an idea of the air mass that came in that gave us that 29 with that cold front and the snow yesterday in parts of our state. Okay, so it did help to knock down the pollens a bit. That's good. Grass and weed low, mold low, tree pollen down to the high category. Chandler's 59, Shawnee's 59, 57 in Guthrie and Newcastle, Chickasha's 59, more Norman 59 degrees. Watonga and Kingfisher are 57, 54 in Woodward, 60 in Altus, and 61 degrees in Lawton right now. High cloud cover coming in. This will gradually thicken up tonight, and that'll help add a little bit of a blanket overnight tonight to keep us above 32 degrees tonight. With that being said, if it's clear enough long enough, there may be a few little frost pockets in some of those cooler sheltered valleys, mainly outside the city. If you live in one of those, you know about that, and you want to bring in your tropicals and things like that for tonight, talking about tonight. But otherwise, I think we'll be okay. And the next chance of thunderstorms comes up late Friday. I'll break that down. Here's the freeze tracker for tonight. As you see here, just the very little sheltered valleys there, maybe a couple of patches of frost. Freezing temperatures possible up in the Ozark Plateau around Tahlequah and Grove and Wyandotte and places of Fairland up here in northeastern Oklahoma for tonight. Branson down to 28, 37 tonight here in Oklahoma City, and mostly cloudy for tomorrow. In the afternoon, perhaps a few light showers around. Winds pick up from the south, so 55 is going to be a chilly day coming up for your Thursday. Jacket weather, I think, all day pretty much. Okay, here's breaking it down for Friday. Cold front approaching from the northwest during the afternoon hours. Area of low pressure in the eastern Texas panhandle tracking to the south-southeast may clip far southwest Oklahoma with a dry line. And instability is going to be a little bit lacking here, but the cold front will provide lift. So by late afternoon into Friday evening, talking about your Friday evening here, opportunities of showers and thunderstorms. Main threat is hail and wind with this. If there is a tornado threat, it may be down perhaps south central Oklahoma, maybe briefly southwestern Oklahoma around the 6 to 7 p.m. time frame on Friday. And by mid-Friday evening, 8 to 8:30, the thunderstorms should start to track through the southeast side of the metro and gradually taper off by 9 to 10 p.m. on Friday evening. But the moral of that story is it could be a little bumpy and unsettled for your Friday evening. Main threats, hail and wind, golf ball size hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds, maybe an isolated tornado, especially in south central or southwestern Oklahoma on Friday. Here's the moisture for tomorrow, from 0 to 1/10 of an inch in the afternoon and evening, very light. Here's the moisture for late Friday into Friday night. Scattered about, looks like about a ½ inch for Oklahoma City. Could go up a little bit if we get these heavier waves of storms coming in Friday evening. 47 degrees this evening with light winds and clear skies at 10 o'clock. 37 for a low tonight with a light easterly breeze. A few frost pockets, but not very many. 34 to 38 for metro lows tonight. And statewide from near freezing in northeastern Oklahoma to near 40 in the southwest parts of our state. And tomorrow, 55 degrees, breezy and mostly cloudy with a few scattered light showers. Here's my 7-day plus 4. 37 to 55 tomorrow. 48 to 66 on Friday. 60% chance of storms in the evening. Some could be severe, or at least locally heavy. Good weekend, sunny and 68 Saturday. 75 on Sunday. Watch that space for next Tuesday. Could have elevated severe weather, windy and 81, and that is your 7-day plus 4 this evening.
Now, sports with Brian Brinkley.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are without Lou Dort tonight as they try to end their 11-game losing streak. Dort is out with a hip strain as OKC visits the Indiana Pacers in a game that just tipped off a few minutes ago. Let's check out the scoreboard. The Thunder trailing early, 18-12. We'll have the complete highlights coming up tonight at 10. Oklahoma State got a big football commitment today from Bixby Junior running back Braylon Presley. Presley is a 3-star recruit who helped Bixby to 3 straight state championships. His older brother Brennan plays for the Cowboys. He was also considering Vanderbilt, Army, Kansas, and Beta. We'll have more on that tonight at 10. OSU's baseball team is going for a sweep of Arkansas Pine Bluff tonight at O'Brate Stadium in Stillwater. The game just started a few minutes ago. Cowboys have already gotten a 3-run homer from Christian Encarnacion Strand and lead 3-0 in the first. Former OSU offensive lineman Tevin Jenkins is getting ready for next week's NFL draft. Jenkins was the first team All-Big 12 pick last season for the Cowboys as a senior after considering turning pro after his junior year. But the decision to come back for his final year of college paid off, and now he's projected to be a first-round NFL draft pick.
Sat down, talked to the strength coach, Coach Glass. He told me, look, if you want to be that guy, if you want to be like that little top of the name, top of the list, like first rounder, second rounder, you got to come back next year, be a road grader, be that one guy that everybody wants to see, be nasty on the film. And that's definitely what I did, and I came back, and I'm very happy with my decision.
Going to pay off for him, too. OU is getting ready for their spring game on Saturday in Norman. The Sooner grounds crew is getting Owen Field ready for the game with the traditional spring game look at midfield, an outline of the state of Oklahoma with an OU logo in the middle. Kickoff is 4 o'clock Saturday. And NFL owners today approved a proposal to eliminate overtime in preseason games. That was long overdue. They also approved a one-year experiment in an attempt to make it easier to recover onside kicks. Also a good idea. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Well, an Ohio teenager fatally shot by a police officer.
The death of the 16-year-old leading to new calls tonight for police reform. The latest is next on the Extra Edition.